Trump administration quietly builds plans for what would happen if Maduro were ousted in Venezuela. Months into a pressure campaign, one that has involved deploying thousands of U.S. troops and a carrier strike group to the Caribbean, as well as repeated threats from President Donald Trump against Venezuelan leader Nicolas Maduro, the Trump administration is now developing day after plans should Maduro be removed from power, according to two senior administration officials and another source familiar with the discussions. These plans are being drafted quietly and kept tightly restricted inside the White House, the sources said. They outline several possible U.S. actions to fill any power vacuum and stabilize Venezuela if Maduro steps down as part of a negotiated deal, or if he is forced out following U.S. strikes or other direct intervention, the sources added. Publicly, officials have insisted the military buildup in the Caribbean and the attacks on drug trafficking boats are meant to curb narcotics flowing into the U.S. But the internal planning clearly signals Trump is considering forcing Maduro out, something administration officials have privately acknowledged. CNN previously reported that Trump has not yet decided how he will resolve the standoff, and that competing factions inside his administration hold sharply different views on military or covert actions to remove Maduro. Although Trump has repeatedly threatened escalation, including ground strikes, two senior officials said there is little appetite for deeper U.S. involvement in Venezuela. Trump spoke with Maduro by phone late last month, days before the U.S. formally labeled Maduro and his allies as members of a foreign terrorist organization. A senior White House official said the call wasn't overtly hostile, but Trump did deliver a sort of ultimatum, telling Maduro it was in his best interest to leave the country and warning that the U.S. would continue blowing up boats. In a Politico interview published Tuesday, Trump declined to say how far he was willing to go to oust Maduro but stressed that his days are numbered. Trump has refused to rule out direct involvement in regime change, and the planning underway at the White House is intended to keep all options open. It's the federal government's job to prepare plans A, B, and C, a senior official said, noting that Trump wouldn't be issuing such threats without having a team developing multiple contingency options. Another source said it is the responsibility of the U.S. government to prepare for every possible scenario worldwide. The plans are closely held within the White House Homeland Security Council, led by Stephen Miller, who has been working closely with Secretary of State and Acting National Security Advisor Marco Rubio on Venezuela-related initiatives in recent months. The Venezuelan opposition, led by Maria Corina Machado and Edmundo Gonzalez, has spent years developing its own day-after plans and has publicly shared parts of them. Their proposals address security, the economy, energy, infrastructure, and education, opposition leader David Smolinski told CNN. The opposition has created 100-hour and 100-day transition plans for a post-Maduro scenario, and these have been shared with various parts of the Trump administration, a source said. It's unclear how much of these proposals the administration has adopted. The Trump administration previously declared Gonzalez the rightful president of Venezuela after claiming he won the most votes in last year's election. Over the summer, informal discussions took place within the administration about having Machado and Gonzalez lead the country should Maduro be removed, officials said. Machado has publicly praised Trump and said Venezuela would work closely with the U.S. But the day-after planning has now intensified, with officials considering a wide range of potential scenarios for Maduro's departure. It remains unclear how the administration might seek to remove him, complicating efforts to prepare detailed post-transition plans. The U.S. will need to decide what type and level of support to provide Venezuela to prevent instability and conflict, and how it would influence the nation's political future after more than a decade under Maduro's rule. While deploying U.S. ground troops is unlikely even though Trump has not ruled it out, planning for economic, security, and intelligence support would be essential, experts said. Multiple officials said Trump is not interested in lengthy negotiations with Maduro. He will be given less flexibility than other world leaders Trump has negotiated with, one official noted. They also said a negotiated exit is unlikely due to past failures. Maduro has made 5 agreements with various parties over the past 10 years and broken every single one, Rubio told Fox last week, adding that Maduro's record doesn't mean Trump shouldn't attempt a deal. In October, Trump said he had authorized the CIA to operate inside Venezuela to crack down on illegal migration and drug trafficking but stopped short of confirming whether the agency had authority to remove Maduro. Experts have welcomed the administration's preparation, given how complex and dangerous a post-Maduro transition could be. It's a good sign. If they intend to change the regime, and that appears to be the case, they need a ready-to-implement alternative for day one, said Mark Cancian of the Center for Strategic and International Studies. He noted the U.S. lacked such planning in Iraq in 2003, a mistake the Trump administration would not want to repeat. Cancian added that once such plans exist, it may become harder for Trump to retreat from regime change efforts. Any attempt to construct a new leadership structure would require the U.S. to navigate questions of legitimacy both domestically and internationally. When and how do you restore recognition of the Venezuelan government? If Maria Corina Machado and Edmundo Gonzalez take over immediately, they would clearly be considered legitimately elected, so the U.S. would grant recognition from day one, said economist Francisco Rodriguez. But if a transitional government includes figures from Chavismo, how and when do you recognize it? Recognition will determine the lifting of sanctions and access to economic support, which will be crucial to stabilizing the country, he said. Although the administration remains in contact with the Venezuelan opposition, sources said there are no regular high-level meetings with officials like Rubio. They also emphasized that the opposition's transition plans are not officially endorsed by the administration. Smolinski praised the Trump administration's continued focus on Venezuela but declined to comment on the specific day after planning underway. We share the U.S. vision of a freer and safer hemisphere, reducing the influence of Cuba, Iran, Russia, and China, countries for which Venezuela serves as a hub, said Smolinski, a senior security and foreign affairs advisor to Gonzalez and Machado.